How you doing, guys? Professor EDC with another BLADE-OSOPHY Sunday. And first of all, let me say I'm sorry if you hear music in the background. It's there's just uneducated pricks that decide to have parties with very, very loud music and very distasteful music, by the way. Anyways, just wanted to get that out of the way in case you hear something. But today I want to talk about something that is very important, something that I was discussing with some of my subscribers to my Blade magazine, this interactive Blade magazine. And so we talked about the evolution of knives or knife makers, and but not only the evolution, but the evolution mixed with what is a copy or what is an interpretation of a knife, of a folder, or even if it's considered not an interpretation but more as a tribute, right? And the differences amongst these categories. And so I think it's sometimes we get confused very easily, and even more when we say, well, that's just a point of view, and well, it all depends on the point of view. And that may be the case sometimes, but then again, there are times when, and many times, when there's just more than a point of view. We know that a point of view is something subjective, but then again, there are objective facts that support a statement or that support something, right? And so let's get into it and see what you guys think. Talking about evolution, we would have to take a look at what we have on the table. And, well, we see here the A100, right? A great functional knife, perhaps overpriced. At least this one, because just getting it here safely costed me, unfortunately, $100 extra. But anyways, we have the A100, and of course this is from the same maker in a collaboration with another brand, Zero Tolerance. But can you see the DNA of the knife maker? I don't know if you've ever had these two. When you get them in hand, you know it's an evolution of very possible of this knife. I know it's this is taken from the, I think it was the Scorpion model. I don't recall, but I can absolutely see that this is kind of a descendant from the A100. And there are some details that are very familiar. And even, for example, if we take a look at the hardware and how it's how this screw, this pivot is on one side and then flat on the other side, on both of them. So even that small detail is taken into consideration. The ergos, you get these in hand, and the ergos are great. And say what you will about Emerson or Zero Tolerance, these are knives I enjoy, but we can see here what I would call a tribute, right? An evolved tribute or an innovation tribute. And then we have another type of tribute. This is from a different company or from collaborations in a different company. And so we have the awesome Strider SNG. And this has been around for a while. Love this knife. But, and then Strider made a collaboration with Medford, and this came out. And we can see again the DNA, right? Of course, there are differences. And this one, you know, exactly when I'm trying to remember something, a name or something, it slips right in that moment. There is a Strider that I absolutely really like, and it's a I can't remember the model, but it's very, again, it follows the pattern, it follows the DNA of what we're going to see next, and that would be the Custom Knife Factory Evo 1, 2, and 3. Next, the 4. The 4, I think it's going to be a Tonto, but can you see the similarities? And curiously enough, this is the Evo of meaning evolution. And as I understand, Sorensen from Rotten Design, if I'm not mistaken, he is a fan of Strider knives. And we can see that, right? And we can take into consideration this as a honest and respectful evolution or tribute, right? I think we absolutely can. Same as the 3, the Evo 3. And I'm still trying to remember the Strider pattern, the Strider model, which is big and rounded with a rounded blade that I absolutely have to get my hands on one of those one of these days. But here we're looking at, again, a tribute. As I see it. So where's the line between what is illicit, what is a copy, what is a tribute, and what is just an interpretation of? And some may have mentioned about literature, and while books may come out from another book being the interpretation of that book, well, they may well be good interpretations, but they are not The Little Prince, for example. And The Little Prince has hundreds, if not thousands, of interpretations. And so so many other books, right? How many books about the Bible are there out there interpreting the Bible? But they're not the Bible, right? And as well as so many other books. If we can go on from different religions, and we can go on from different philosophies. And the different interpretations of each and every one of them. So, where is the difference? Well, we have to take various things into consideration. And this is also going to vary from country to country, from continent to continent, from culture to culture. It is not the same first world countries as third world countries. The mentalities are very different. If you can see difference in mentalities from one state to another, from one household to another, well, even more so when we talk about cultures and when we talk about first and third world countries. So that's something that it's usually not taken into consideration, but it's something that I've been very careful about and really paying attention to that, because there are huge differences in many different situations. So, what may be the intention of the knife maker when making this? You know, is he just trying to steal the model to make money, or like I've seen, I've watched, I've read how I forgot the name. Sorensen mentioned how he is a true fan of Striders, and that's clear, right? But then again, there are others. There are other knife makers, perhaps new knife makers, perhaps rookie knife makers, right? That may copy and try to get away with it just to put out a popular knife out there. And we've seen this even with brands, with some illicit Chinese brands, right? And take Ganzo, for example. It just surprises me how I can see a Spyderco made by Ganzo, and just by changing the locking system, that's it, and they're off with it. I mean, and that's, this is subjectively, it's not, from my point of view, it's not right. But if we are to go from opinions to objective data, we would have to talk about the law and how registered brand or author rights or patents, right, function in this world, because that's the objective side of things. And we may say, well, the liner lock wasn't patented until Michael well, it just slipped my mind, patented the liner lock, and we may go back into the 19th century, as I have recently learned, and how the liner lock goes back to the 19th century. And this, like I said, from this very nice chat that we had in my Blade magazine. And so patents, that's the ground that we must follow in order to discern, to separate objectivity from subjectivity, right? We may have a patent here, right, in this pattern, as well as I was looking at the tip, but it's all right. As well as this .75 AR. But they are from the same maker, from the same designer. And this one is a big change. And is this an evolution? Well, we would have to go deeper into that rabbit hole. In many ways, I do believe it's an evolution of the SNG or the SMF. And I've had both. Just have an SNG right now. But in a sense, this we can call a tribute, right? And it is patented as well. And there's the line between subjectivity and objectivity. We go by law. And the laws are very clear. One thing is to improve, to innovate, like many people say, in the knife world. It's like when the wheel was invented. And, well, we're just trying to improve upon it. Okay, that's nice. And I'm totally for that. But one thing is to improve and one thing is to create. Let's just make that clear. To create is to, out of the nothing, create something new. To innovate is to have that something and improve upon that. Now for that, you gotta have permission. In some cases, if you are a rookie knife maker, in some cases there might not be any problems because, I don't know, you're trying out, you're proving yourself, and so you copy a model from Loveless, for example, or Randall, and but you don't sell that knife. You keep it for yourself, and you're just trying to prove yourself. But another thing that's very different is making a whole batch of those and selling them, right? Because there we are talking about patents. And then there are those models that are absolutely original, you know. And when I'm referring to creation, this is taking something out of nothing to create something, not improve upon it, create. And I don't recall the name of the first one, but I think this is an evolution of that one, from Elia Isham. And well, that's just a very interesting topic, how creation or creativity comes about, and how we need to stand on the knowledge of something as a support to be able to create. But in the end, it is something that comes out of nothing, basically. Right? And then there are those, we're talking about patents, and then we're talking about patterns, models that don't have patents, right? Like traditional knives. And I'm talking about geometries. And let's have a look at these two. Very similar, right? This Copperlock and Jack Wolf Big Bro Jack. Both clip points, different clip points. Of course, different qualities. but both of them are fantastic knives. And Ben doesn't need the authorization from Case to do a clip point, right? Because it's something rather universal, or something that doesn't really have a patent. And these are innovations. These are improvements over improvements of other knives, of other patterns, right? As we saw with the 640, zero tolerance 640, and the A100 from Emerson. And then together with Elijah Ishams, sorry about that, just slipped my mind the name. Here we have the Cyborg Jack, an absolute new pattern. And I don't know if this pattern, Ben Belkin, has a patent on it, but he should. This is a fantastic model. One of my favorites, if not my favorite. And it is something absolutely new, right? So, where's the line? Where's the difference between illicit or illegal and legal? Well, that lies within the laws, international laws, within patents, within registered brands and author rights. So let's not forget about that. And while we may have tributes and interpretations of something else that may be openly about it, there are those that are not, and there are those that may put us in a difficult situation or even make us angry, right? When they become clones. So, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Meanwhile, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Professor EDC out.